And coming up on this episode of the Marty Mariner Show. Well, this is the fourth year now of the Marty Mariner Show on YouTube. Can you believe that? Only in its infancy compared to a lot of other places, but we're doing okay. Thanks for all those who subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so, hit that subscribe button. Free to do so, and it helps spread the word of the channel. Appreciate you and love you forever. And of course, we're on podcast now too. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, all of the existing podcasts are on the logo with the white background. Now, all the new ones from this one onwards will be on the podcast channel with the black background. So the white ones will always be there. We're moving on with the rest now. So from this one, you'll see the channel this one appears on. Make sure you give that one a follow, 5 hearts, 5 ticks, 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever it might be. Make sure you let everyone know that you're following us on that channel as well. Appreciate every single one of you. Now, apart from that being a very, very shameless plug to start the show, I did do it for an actual reason. If you've watched any of those videos, you've listened to any of those podcasts, you'll know one thing, and it's okay to think it. I'm not a journalist. In fact, I don't work in the media. This is a fan channel. It's my opinion, my thoughts. I'm lucky that I get to talk to players, past and present, officials, people who used to work there at the club, coaches, other supporters of other clubs, of this club. I'm fortunate that I get to have a few chats, a few chinwags, a few conversations. And I do it as a supporter. I was there from day one. I've been a member since day one. I've seen my fair share of wooden spoons. Trust me, I've seen my fair share of wooden spoons. I've been to the stadium where I've not only had no problem finding a seat, I've had my own row. I've probably had my own bay on 1 or 2 occasions as well. I've also seen some toilet seats lifted in the air. Who can forget the game at Gosford? Packed out against Melbourne Victory. Home ground, grand final, the atmosphere. People were outside watching on big screens. People are still talking about it, the atmosphere, the feeling, the hairs standing up on your arms. It was crazy. Never forget that. Winning in Asia, sitting up watching that game was just brilliant. Our women's team last year, winning down in Melbourne, the grand final. One of the greatest nights I've ever had as a Central Coast Mariners fan was being there in Melbourne to watch that. It's incredible. I love this club. I love the Central Coast. And when you combine the Central Coast and football and you get the Central Coast Mariners, well, it's heaven for me. And I guess that's where I'm getting to with this is that we love this football club. And we love this football club because one thing the Central Coast does well is build community. And from community comes family. We're tight-knit. We're massive in area, but we are so close on the Central Coast. You can't go anywhere without seeing someone that you know, despite the vast area that the Central Coast actually covers. Everyone knows everyone else. We're family. Not everyone else gets on with each other in a family. That's understandable. But you know what? We travel up to Newcastle, and any Newcastle Jets fan goes anywhere near one of our Mariners fans and says something, we are all in there together. We're allowed to have a go at each other, but no one else is. Doesn't matter if you're from Sydney or Melbourne. We're the Central Coast. No one rates us, and we don't care. It's always been the case. And right now, our sense of community, our sense of family feels a little bit rocky right now. It feels very unusual to us. It doesn't feel like we're in the ball game right now. And we're hearing a lot of ownership, changes, comings and goings. Are we going to have a men's team? Are we going to have a women's team? Is Jacko actually going to stay this year? Do we even have a women's coach? Who is the owner of the club? What direction are we going in? And they're legitimate things to be thinking because we're family, because we're community. And if as a club, as an area, we can build our sense of community by knowing what's going on and support, we get our crowds back. People will come back through the turnstiles and pay their money to support a team that is supporting the Central Coast. Seeing our teams back out there in the community. Remember when they go to the clubs for training nights? I still remember seeing kids lining up freezing cold to get an autograph from someone and saying, you're going to be there Saturday? I'll be there Saturday. And they bring their mum and dad, and you'd see just the kids saying, yeah, I was passing with him on Thursday night at training. It was great. Seeing them at the shopping centres, seeing that connection that was built, community, family, the community club. We need to know what's going on. We're going to do our best to try and help that with you tonight. Um, the CEO of the Central Coast Mariners, Greg Brownlow, is going to join me for a bit of a chat, a bit of a chinwag, a bit of a conversation. And look, we're going to ask the questions. We're going to see what answers we can give. I am under no illusion. There's certainly things that, because this is a very fluid kind of thing, businesses run that way, and we're a business as well, that things are in change and not everything needs to come out in the open, but we're going to get as much as we possibly can because we need to let our family know, because we want our family to be our members. We need our family to be there at the grounds, and we need to know that we've got our Central Coast Mariners here and that they're back and they're ready to roll. So let's not keep the great man waiting any longer. Look forward to this chat, chinwag, and conversation. I'll catch up with you after with a few more details on how you can follow us on different social media platforms and a bit of a wrap up about what we've spoken about. But yeah, let's not keep the man waiting. It'd be a bad way to kick off the new season by making the CEO wait for too long. We better get it cracking. It's the MartyMariner Show. Back to the MartyMariner Show, and as I just said in my quite extensive preamble, what an honour it is to have the CEO of the Central Coast Mariners, Greg Brownlow, dropping in for a bit of a chat, chinwag, and conversation. Greg, how you doing, man?
Marty, outstanding. I appreciate you having me. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm actually excited to be here.
Oh wow, that's the first time in 4 years, mate, that anyone's actually been excited. But I'll take it. I'll absolutely take it. Um, Mate, the first question I normally ask when I get, it doesn't matter who comes on the podcast, is where their football started. What's your first football memory? This game of soccer that we all love.
Yeah, good question. So I started in playing for Lake Macquarie, and I was 8 years old. So yeah, came through Borrego High School with Craig Johnson School. He's a little bit older than me. Went to school with my sister, so they're about 7.5 years older than me. Um, but I've got a bit of history with Craig. My father built their house, and yeah, he spent a fair bit of time as a kid growing up watching him train on the Borrego High School fields before he took off overseas. But anyway, that's more about Craig than me. Yeah, so my first memory was. Yeah, like all kids, I think, kicking a football around the backyard. My cousin lived just up the road, so
Yeah,
we had a bunch of battles and thought we were world stars at that time. But yeah, started quite young, and yeah, I have an extensive tennis background, which I'm not sure if you know about, Marty, but
a little bit, yeah.
that's either a conversation, some questions for now or later on. But yeah, I'm actually a sports person, to be honest, and
Yeah,
the last yeah, if you want me to keep going, I'll tell you about my 30 over 35s
I'll do it.
induction.
It'll give me a chance to bring up my 45s, mate. I'll
Oh,
be
good,
we can
good.
balance it out with top of the comp. We're happy to talk about it right now. Yeah, I was going to say, so, and still running around, right?
Yeah, I played 50 games last year, Marty.
Wow. Jeez.
Yeah. There was I'm president of Berkeley Vale Soccer Club,
Yep.
and it was the club's 50th year anniversary last year.
Go the Wombats.
And somebody sent me a message. CCF published people that had played a bunch of games, and one of the guys in the club sent me a message that I was on 37 games. So I thought,
Wow.
well, why not? Why not try to get to 50? So I was literally playing 4 games a weekend. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. Look at you going. Jacko hasn't had a word and said, look, I need that kind of stamina in my team, like tap you on the shoulder.
Mate, I've been to all and sundry. Andre Gumprecht, the former Amazing Mariner, who's the head coach to the
Yep.
Berkeley Vale, actually went to him, and then yeah, tried to catch Mark's eye, but the grey hair probably put them off. The skills definitely wouldn't have put them off, but the grey hair might have put them off. But
Mate,
hence I didn't get a call up.
that's my excuse. I can't say anything else from that. I think it's the grey hair and the lack of skills and stuff like that. Or but anyway, that's my story, and I'm going to stick to it.
Yeah.
And just with Berkeley too. I mean,
Hmm.
obviously we're going to talk a lot of Mariners shortly. But Andre Gumprecht, I mean, I remember we interviewed him a couple of years ago, and it ended up being 2 episodes because
Wow.
it was meant to be half an hour. I think it went for nearly two. The guy
Right.
is just so passionate about football and his time at the Mariners, but in Germany growing up, his history. He must be such just a great role model having around the club just for all of the players, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I must really like Andre because he's in all the spaces I'm in. So at Central Coast Sports College,
Yeah,
he's obviously one of the coaches there. So
yeah,
Andre and I have
good
worked
stuff.
together since like 2013, 14 or something.
Yeah,
And yeah, he obviously works in the Mariners system as well in the JDL. Um, arguably one of the most passionate guys about football. I know he was loved as a Mariners player. He's a genuinely super fella,
yeah,
and that's I think when people meet him, they pick that up really pretty quickly. Yeah, he loves football.
yeah. And I think apart from seeing some spectacular goals and results in Gosford, when Gumps was on the bench and Laurie give him the nudge to go and warm up and he go up and down the sideline, I mean, it's like we scored. The crowd would just be on their feet. You know, you'd think Gumps is he just had that character around him, right? It was just he just related to everyone within the club.
Yeah, absolutely, and he does that exceptionally well.
Does
There's a guy at Berkeley Vale that is an out and out Mariners fan, just a guru. I'm going to dump him in it here. It's Kurt Briggs.
right?
When I introduced him to Andre, there was a bunch of tears that flowed
Yeah,
because he's obviously either Kurt's favorite player or one of his
yeah,
most favorite players. So yeah, Andre's a good fellow. He's
yeah,
I think in all areas the young kids are really fortunate and lucky to have him. And then when it
mm,
comes up to where he's coaching at the moment for us.
yeah.
Obviously in the Premier League here on the coast, he's great
So,
for those fellas as well. So yeah, he's good. Good. Go the Mariners.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, I've been nice enough. We started with a nice, easy intro, mate. We've got to get into the nitty gritty of things now because I've got a
Yeah.
thousand people writing messages saying get on with it. So let's just get it all started. Look, lots of stuff at the moment. Let's just start with ownership because there's been lots of questions about it. What's happening? What's not happening? We're now hearing this. Just in your words, what can you say? Where are we at as a club?
So is this the moment I use my political deflection, or do you want the
No,
straight answers?
that's
Straight
later.
answers. All right.
That's later. You did that with the
Um,
35s, mate. This is the real stuff.
Look, it's no secret that Mike Charlesworth, the owner and chairman, has sought investment over his entire tenure, to be fair, and he's the longest serving chairman in the league. It's important to note that because Mike, as all people do, and I think he's generally okay with it, that people give him some stick from time to time, but the club's not here without Mike, and that's really, really important. However, there's a lot of costs involved in a club and the landscape, albeit people are trying to turn the league around. And from an APL perspective, personally, I feel like they're on track to do some good stuff because it's been tumultuous time. Um, and with funding dropping from that, it is. I don't know if unreasonable is the right word, but it's difficult for Mike or any person to just keep dumping money into things without support. So that's where we sit. We're continuing to do that. It has been the major focus. Probably I can say that for myself since I've been in the role here at the Mariners to support Mike to get what he wants, and that's support for the club and investment in the club. And to his credit, he's not just looking at taking any person or any entity uh, as an investor. He's after the right people or the right person or the right investment group in a difficult landscape, Marty, because there's respectfully so many people that are tire kickers and yeah, probably keen to big note on some stages, but that's okay. It's probably an attractive if you're a football fan. Owning a football club is probably attractive, right? Till you got to pay the bills. Um, but yeah, that's where we sit. So I know there's stuff come out in the media. It's it's amazing that the media releases stuff that quickly because I get messages sent to me from conversations that I have internally like an hour prior, and there's no one else around. So I don't know what happens, but that's credit to them. But I also understand that when there's silence, um, people speculate, and you would have seen it. We've had a bunch of um, you know. News articles and digital media and social media articles from people that some might have been in the mix and others just are nowhere. So um, yeah, that's really my answer. That we continue to look for investment. That's part of the whole process. And as I said, if you look at with I can if you want, but without delving too deep into the funding process, and
Mm.
um, the former chairman Richard, it was one of his things he was very vocal about. The funding's we can't shy away from it. It's dropped to a level that makes it extremely difficult
Mm.
on a day-to-day basis to
Yeah.
not only run football club. I'd argue that anyone that is funded in a way and then it's cut to a third
Yeah.
is difficult. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's where Mike's at. That's where the club's at. We're being extremely diligent in that process and doing it in an extremely professional way. Um, so yeah, that's probably the best answer I can give you and the only answer. Like things will come to light as we move through certain processes, and that may be people or organizations having periods of due diligence that they need to go through. Um, and that's okay. While it puts us in limbo and it doesn't help the fans because there's information that we can't potentially bring out that we want to, I think if you are looking for the right investment in the club, we need people to go through that process.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't have, millions in the bank. Otherwise, I'd be on the phone as well and stuff like that. But how does that ball start rolling? Is it through straight to, the club and say, look, I'm interested, and then there's a process from there? Like, how does that all start?
Yeah, absolutely. You'd be surprised who sends messages of people and friends that are interested. Maybe you're
Yeah.
not surprised. I don't know.
I'm probably not actually. No.
Yeah. Yeah, look, it comes in every way you could think. Like it at one stage, earlier in the year, I had within a 48-hour period, three people make contact with myself around investment. Mike had around five within that same period for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Um, so we then have to go through a process of, are they serious? Is it going to be a lengthy amount of time that we have to go through, or do they really just not have the funds? And that's that might sound a bit harsh at times, but we, as I said earlier, Mike is not looking for people that are going to come in and fund the club for 12 months, and the
Mm.
fans wouldn't be looking for that either, right? So we got to make sure any investment in the club is sustainable, and that may mean that Mike stays in at some level or not. Depends on what his feeling is of who's the right entity.
Yeah. And obviously, and as you said, too, things that happen that don't get broadcast every day, and that's business and all that sort of stuff. But you know, the season's fast approaching and stuff like that. I wouldn't say is there a cutoff, but is there a time where you've just got to say, right, well, look, this is just where we're at for now, and this is all we've got. Can it be something that can happen during the season? What does the timeline look like?
Um, we're trying to make it as fast as we possibly can. As I said, keep in mind, like all people have to go through, and entities have to go through a due diligence period. So
Mm.
as I said, while we're fully aware that has taken some time, there's obviously a bunch of stuff in the background that we're working through and on, so that if and when that time comes for investment, we're ready to go.
Yep.
Um, yeah, obviously we're more arguably aware than anyone that the season's approaching, and
Yeah. So,
we've got to make things happening, and sometimes it's a little bit difficult for the guys in the park, and that's okay. We got really good people around the club, and with the men's team led by Mark, and you got, I'm just naming a few, Matty Simon, and the coaching staff and the players, and
yep.
the administration staff. I can name every single person there. Their heart's in the right place. There's stuff I can't share with them, obviously, as well.
Yep.
Only from a respect perspective. And as I said, it's hard to let out a lot of information because some people, we might get a week into the process and realize, what, they're not the right
Yep.
person or they're not the right group for whatever reason. There's a whole lot of agents that come to the forefront There's people that you think might be investors, and then when we dig a little bit deeper, they're actually just the front person who is trying to rally multiple other investors in the background. So reality is that person doesn't have any money. There's for a football club. So yeah, there's a whole lot of things that come to play. For me personally, it's all exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but at the end of the day, we've got one owner, Mike, and we need to do everything possible to help him out because his service to the Mariners has been, exceptional.
Absolutely. So I guess obviously, we don't want to go through. There's reports out there that everyone can read and they can do their stuff from there, but without qualifying any of that. But are we in a situation where at the moment we're kind of feeling confident that everything is at least moving in the right direction?
I've been confident 8 times so far this year. I can say that honestly, eight
Yeah.
times. Um,
Right.
so, yeah, just at the death, things don't quite go to plan, and that's,
Cool.
some of the groups, without going too deep into them, are massive world groups. So, you bring in, which is right, like you bring in major law firms, you bring in major accounting firms, um, that we work with, and we do our best to work with them to get a result, as I said, for my and for the best outcome of the club. Um, and the club is outstanding, isn't it? Like it's a development club. We've had so much success. I think, Matty was talking. You guys all know, but it's what, 6 championships out of the 20 seasons, and then we got the women's team again back in the league, 2 seasons in, like finals and then win it. So it's pretty attractive. Uh,
Mm,
but there's some things out of our control. And as I said, the funding from the league, albeit they're trying to work their way around it, but we can't
mm,
shy away from the fact it's a third, if not a quarter, of what it was before, and that then changes the bottom line, and
yeah.
we've got to work hard to try to turn that around, and
Yeah.
in a difficult environment where we can't release too much information at the moment.
Okay. And with what's going on, obviously with Western United at the moment, I mean, you know, is that a stark reminder of what this business, even though we love the football side of it, we love to get out there and have a kick, but for a club like that, that's a stark reminder of how fragile this system is sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. I can't speak too much on Western United. However, it doesn't matter if it's Western United, Sydney FC, or Auckland Mariners, whoever. Like if anyone falls over in the league, it's not a good thing, and it's
Mm,
happened. As we all know, I think the Jets and the Raw and Perth and all that have been pretty in the media cases over the years. It's not great for the landscape. So
mm,
yeah, the APL are working, and the FA to an extent. They obviously want the landscape to be sustainable,
yep.
but everyone plays a role in that from a club perspective, and that is the balancing challenge, in my opinion. The balance is trying to make sure you have a team that is competitive, that the club, whatever club, can afford.
Mm,
And that's kind of it at the end of the day. And we all know, and I'm a fan, don't forget as well. So,
absolutely.
we've all got our favorite players around the world and in Australia, and we'd all like to see them come. And some we can get,
Yep.
some we can't, right? Or we can, but the club won't be around very long.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. Play one aside out there or something like that. So,
yeah,
and I guess just on the balance too, because we know, and obviously we've seen the photos, the with Jacko out there with the boys, and love the training strip by the way. I think that's
thank
really
you.
that's
Yeah,
that is outstanding. I'll be putting my order in very shortly as long as they got the right sizes, which I'm sure they have. I've actually seen that they've got decent sizes now too. So good on the club
absolutely.
for that one. Absolutely. Can I just ask about the women's team? Obviously, Emily Husband left, now working with the Matildas. Awesome for her. She's just
Yeah.
a beautiful individual, so accommodating for fans. She was on the show a number of times, and we've seen a few players sort of announce that they're not coming back. What's the state with the women's team at the moment?
Yeah, and I'll definitely answer that. Emily, let's touch on that. Outstanding
Yeah.
person. You're 100% right. And uh, I did think that literally the night of the grand final win, coming back on the plane, I was thinking this is everyone's going to be chasing Emily.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, and that happens in sport, right? Success, and
Yeah.
Emily's not the one. So for her to gain the opportunity to be part, and she was already in that little Matilda's
Sure. Yeah.
or the Australian setup
Yep.
effectively, which they've done a good job of bringing different coaches into that environment. Um, it's just a fantastic opportunity for her. Albeit on a selfish note, it has made it difficult for the club. You win the grand final and you lose your marquee women's coach.
Mm.
There's always going to be some challenges. Equal to the investment process. I've had just about anyone in football send us resumes. Between myself and Matt Simon,
Yeah. You got mine
including.
as well, right? I did write that. That
Yes,
was
mate. Yeah, yeah. I got one from an under nines team at one stage. So that's okay. Everyone can put their hat in the ring. So for
absolutely.
that we're working through. That's put us a little bit behind the eight ball. We're aware, but I'll go back again. Um, and I'm not sure if people were made aware it's before my time, but um, we went through a process to get Emily.
Yeah.
Um, it's no different. We're going through a process. This one's going to take a little bit longer, um, really from the timing of everything. But we're committed to get the right coach, whatever that looks like for the club. So that's what everyone really has to understand first and foremost. It's the
Yes.
right for the club, it's the right for the girls, and it's um, the right person at this moment in time. So yeah, we're working heavily through that right up to 2 hours ago.
Yep.
Uh, so yeah, and we're aware it puts people and players and agents and in the landscape in a little bit of limbo because they're we can sign all the players that are out there if they're whoever they are, but they all want to know who the coach is too, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. Is that a
um,
tough? I mean, I'm guessing it's yourself or Matt, Simon, whoever, but to talk to players who, I guess, I mean, especially from last year, right? They've come off the grand final win and they're buzzing. I'm guessing there's a whole heap, want to come back, do it again. But I guess that they have that small understanding about the club, but they just want to get out there. Who's the coach? Let's get into it. Is that hard having that conversation with people, with these
yeah,
players?
and Matt is the leader of that for us. Does an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's difficult because we can't answer it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So we're getting there. But to me, without getting all political about football, it's just puts it front and center that the women's game has to be fully professional.
Mm,
And,
absolutely.
and until that happens, these challenges are going to happen for everyone because contracts finish at the end of the season effectively. Or the most of them are stood down and they start again when the next season starts. So, within that period, and we all know sport is an interesting landscape, isn't it? People get offers and they go different places, and some of those we want. We want people to be successful. It's no different in the
Yeah,
women's
of
game
course.
to the men's game, and that's part of the DNA of the club being a development club.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, we just have to be honest, ask players and agents and people to trust that we're doing the right things in the background to be successful and appoint the right person. But I'm fully aware from a fan's perspective that's probably frustrating because
No,
we can't release too much yet. But we'll
no,
get there, Marty.
we will. No, we will get there. And I know, and I mean, just as much as we talked about with the men's, like, with the academy and the players that have come through from there. I mean,
Mm.
some of the young players we had with our women's team last year who were just, may not have got a heap of game time, but they're as keen as to get out there. I'm sure it's going to open up opportunities for them as well, right?
Yeah, you're 100% right. And that's sometimes difficult to explain, isn't it? Like for someone else moves on, it's someone else's opportunity.
Yeah,
And
nice.
there's so many good young players around. And yes, you touched on it in the academy system. We have an incredible development opportunity here that the only one in the country with this kind of ecosystem with Central Coast Sports College and the Mariners Academy, and then up into the A-League men and A-League women. For Central Coast, it's
Yeah,
outstanding. For the country, it's outstanding.
no, absolutely.
So yeah, there's lots of opportunity. Annalise being front and center. Yeah, she's
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
but it's only one player. There's so many, you know, you can name them all. I think
Oh, yeah.
that women's grand final is one of the best, most exciting sporting events.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
I've seen. Yeah,
Absolutely. No, it seemed,
it made it even better that we won.
and it was, I mean, and to be there, as you know, like, I
Yeah,
mean, I've seen a number of grand finals, been fortunate to do that in a number of games, but to be there amongst that Central Coast crowd,
yeah,
and to see that win, the penalties were down our end of the field, which was just perfect as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I cry quite often, but I've never cried as much as I did after that grand final. That was just amazing. So, um, all right. So I guess moving on. Before I started chatting, I sort of spoke about just the club in itself. I mean, I'm massive on community, love the Central Coast. The Mariners have always been a big part of that. And I spoke about family. And from since day one, since I've been a member, that's always been key. The community, the family. Do you think, and I guess, and it's not a fault of anybody, but do you think we've kind of lost our way a little bit with that?
Um, yeah. Look, to comment on that would cast aspersions on previous people. So I don't want to do that. People do what's in front of them,
Sure.
and for whatever reasons in the moment. For me, the same as what you just stated. I feel like, as I said, I'm a fan first and foremost of the Mariners, but also of football and sport in general. Um, I have a good relationship with Central Coast Football and Alex and all the people that work there. I think Alex is an outstanding CEO for that group. There's over 17,000 registered players on the coast. It's a massive environment. They are one part of the ecosystem that we need to um, really engage and be really good at the way we do that. Have a structured plan, which we do. That means involving, as an example, the presidents of those clubs and the members, and making them feel like they're part of the family if they don't
Yeah.
for whatever reason, and how we connect. And then that's just it's a large portion of community, but it's a part of community. Our main process moving forward and strategic plan is to create generational fans. So to create generational fans, they're fans that are there, you know, as best we can, rain, hail, or shine, win, lose, or draw. And I know we have a bunch of those already, yourself included, and that's exceptional. We're greedy, so we want more, but
Yeah.
we've got to be better too. So we're really um, mindful of that, putting good structures in place as best we can in
Yeah.
this type of environment, but it's really definitely about engaging community. The Central Coast as a whole and as a region is incredible. So, we've got great people. It's to me, this is just my feeling. It feels like a big country town. Like people are connected. It is a family feeling environment.
Mm.
So yeah, the best way we can connect with that is get the little ones involved and make sure they're part of it. Get their parents along, get their grandparents along, and then make sure we look after the current members and fans in a way that everyone's satisfied.
Yeah.
And if they're not satisfied, they feel comfortable to let us know in a respectful way. And
Yeah.
if we can get to that, even playing field, that'd be great. Yeah.
Sure. Oh, 100%. And I guess it's hard too, because on the one hand, as you mentioned before, we're sort of, in a little bit of limbo when it comes to
Mm.
players and comings and goings. And yet we're sort of talking about get your memberships, excite. It's hard to build that momentum for a season ahead when we're not sure, even from the club's point of view, who exactly is going to be out there doing it, right?
Yeah, and that's, as I said, and it's difficult, this process, what I'm about to say, but that's the trust part. Yeah. So and I'm asking a lot when I say that, but we have to get to a place that people trust those processes are good. Um, And are we going to get it wrong sometimes? Yeah, we'll try not to. But from a fan's perspective and a member's perspective, it's not a perfect world that everyone agrees. Yeah,
No.
um,
Sure.
and that's what makes all sport fantastic. I feel like that's part of it. So yeah, we understand that this is a difficult moment in time. that we'll get through, and people will be excited. If we connect people to what our strategy is, and we've got to let people know that. So here you go. I'm giving you a snippet. Um,
Absolutely.
Around our strategic plan of being really connected to community and about player and people development, not just on the park, but
Mm,
people development as a whole. And that means youth and making sure that youth can see a pathway, which I feel the Mariners do really well, but we've got to continue that. Um,
mm,
where they see that the grand prize, if that's their grand prize of playing A-League men or women, that it's achievable for them. And as I said, the Mariners do and are touted to do that really well.
yep.
I'll talk about Emily when she was here and Mark, that
Yep.
they're so on board with that.
Absolutely.
Uh, and lead the way in it. And it shows. So I think in
Yeah.
the men's team, you can see a bunch of the young guys, and they do really well.
Yeah.
But we all have to remember some of them are 17. So
Absolutely. Yeah. Exactly.
that's just remember back, Marty. I'm older than you, I'm sure, but when we were 17 years old, um, you feel like you're an adult until somebody shoulders you and kicks you in the shins, right?
Yeah, mate. Still happening now. Don't worry about
Yeah,
when I was
yeah.
17, but yeah,
Happens more.
yeah. No, I
Yeah,
know
so
what you mean.
I think that's important. Play a role. We play a role in that, mate, because we have to tell everyone what that looks like and do
Yeah.
a really good job of that.
Yeah. And I think, and it's surprising how many people talk to me about it, but I remember it when clubs or the men's team, because there wasn't a women's team then, used to go to the training nights
Yeah,
down the grounds, right? And I know it's logistically trying to work it out with different seasons and stuff like that, right? But I couldn't believe, even on those nights that I was involved in at the different clubs, how many of the young players would connect with the players themselves and be like, I'll see you on the weekend. Yeah, mate, I'm going to be there on the weekend. And you'd sit in those seats and you would see those kids going, I trained with him the other day. Because to me, that's the connection. We talk about generational. That's
yeah,
the connection we're going to get, right?
totally agree. And yeah, we're working towards what that looks like. And
Beautiful.
as I said, CCF are helping incredibly and play a role in that. I've done a couple of presentations to the presidents of the club so far
Yep.
about that exact thing, and then logistically, yes, we have to manage that internally. And the PFA play a role in that about player welfare, and rightly so.
Mm-hmm.
About what not it's not so much what we can and can't do, it's just what it
Mm.
looks like from a player can take
Yep.
into consideration that the primary role is to be a professional sports person,
Absolutely.
albeit part of that professional sports person is to
Mm.
engage with fans and community and sponsor and yeah,
Sure.
you're right, really connect with the kids and families, and
Mm.
so they're not distant. So yes, that's a major focus for us.
Yep.
Um, and over the next couple of weeks, that'll be part of the logistical plan to make that happen.
Yep.
And Mark, as a head coach of the men, is unbelievably on board with that.
Yep.
He definitely gets it. He's, as I said, a really good fella. You guys know had some great success. And I'll go back to there's so many good people around the club that
Mm.
Mariners fans as well. That want everything to be really good and the club to do well. So,
Yep.
we'll make it happen. And the players, to the credit to them, I just stand back after the games in this last season where I was fortunate to be out on the field,
Yeah.
um, uh, and just see like how much time they spend,
Oh,
after the games. It's incredible. Yeah,
yeah.
it's incredible.
And as you know that they're never asked to do that. It's not a
Yeah,
requirement that oh, by the way. And the way that the women's team were doing the same thing, it was just a natural
absolutely.
progression. And
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, I remember, as you know, like standing by the tunnel there and the security kicking the players off, saying that's it, no more, no more. And the players are like,
yeah,
no, we're going to sign every single shirt, we're going to get every single photo because that means so much to these young kids being around, right? And I
yeah.
don't think people realize how organic that is, that the players, because of what they think about the club and the fans, that's something that they actually look forward to, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You're 100% right. And it's about humanizing it, isn't it? That
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
if we have an expectation about development and we want the youngsters and their families to see that for their kids that the pathway is there,
Yep,
no matter what it looks like for them as an individual, but just that the pathway is there.
yep.
It's hard to see that if they don't know who the players are
True.
and get that kind of experience. So,
Love it.
that's what we're working at strategically behind the scenes to be able to tell the journey,
Yep,
past, present, and what we think future might look like.
yep.
Um, so you'll see a little bit different stuff in the not too distant future about how we portray that, and then that's all connected to us connecting to the community.
Beautiful. So, thanks so much for spending well over half an hour to be able to chat through and get through
Pleasure.
that. I think you didn't do too much deflecting there, mate. So I'm proud of that effort. That was fantastic. Good job with that. If there's one message you've seen the noise, there's Facebook and through social medias, and I'm sure you're getting emails and all that. If there's a message that you could give all the Mariners fans as of today, what is it?
Um, I'd like to say trust the club and trust the process, but I think it'd be arrogant of me to ask that because I've only been here, relatively short space of time. I did see someone on your chat group say, "Who's that fella?" So
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty funny.
I thought he was
Um,
directing it at me, mate. So don't worry about it.
I saw your response. But the message is, everyone involved wants the best for the club. Um, the message is, Mike wants the best for the club. Uh, we want to connect with community, and we do put our hand up that we can be better at that, and we're committed to be better at it. So it doesn't mean we feel like we were poor before, but we need to. Everyone needs to continually improve, whatever that looks like. So the message is we're about development. Um, People need to I know that they understand, but need to really be aware of what that looks like because a lot of people have got different opinions. But for us as pathways and making sure that the youth are part of that, and then if they want to move on to benefit their own careers, then we, as best we can, will be supportive of that. And the Mariners have been in the past. So, it's really around stay tuned. There's lots going on in the background. We'll be able to talk more in the coming days. I'm trying to stretch this out so I can get as close to Gumps as I could. But yeah, look, that's it. We want people to continually love the Mariners, be proud of what we do on the park and off the park. And the off the park at the moment is the important part. Um, Someone said to me today, Marty, that the interesting part over the last couple of years, like we've been in the AFC
Mm,
championships, obviously there's been no off season, so
no.
it is quiet at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's no downside for people wanting football and want to be around. But we need people's support. We need people to get on board with the memberships and come to the games and make sure we support men's, women's teams and all the coaching staff and the people involved in the organization.
Right.
If they do have a gripe, that's fine. I'm definitely okay with that. And as I said, as long as it's respectful and done in a respectful way,
Absolutely.
happy to hear anything. But yeah, let's all create the family community of the Mariners. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
Well,
I just want to finish. I appreciate your support. You send me a bunch of messages, and I'm really happy for that. So and thankful that you take the time to send those nice messages. So I appreciate it, Marty.
no, some people call it stalking, but I call it being friendly and supportive. So I appreciate those words in that way too, mate. And appreciate your responses too. You're always prompt to get back to me as well, which I honestly really appreciate. As I do you being on the show tonight, I know it's busy times. It may not seem busy, but I know it's absolutely flat out for you guys. Honestly, really appreciate it, and look forward to catching up with you soon. Hopefully, different news around the place. We'll get you back on, and we'll have another chat again then.
Yeah, brilliant, Marty. I appreciate it, mate. Look forward to coming on again.
We'll do it soon. We'll catch you soon.
All right, good on you, mate.
All right.